Good afternoon, class students. How are you doing today? Welcome to another class here at WASA. This is PLAR History / Geography. Once again, my name is Jonathan. I am your teacher for this course. As we are wrapping up week number 7 on this Thursday, June the 1st, 2017, otherwise known as the first day of June. Yes, that's right. We're flipping the calendar. We're now into June. And again, as we wrap up this term to be reminder to all students, especially not just PLAR students, but all students here at WASA, we have 2 more weeks of classes after this week. So basically after today's class on Thursdays, there are 2 more weeks left, which means that there are 2 weeks left to submit any work. Okay, so again, there is a due date now. So again, that's Friday, June the 16th. So in 2 weeks' time, that is the due date. Okay, if you submit work after this due date, it will not be marked until after the summer, uh, once teachers are back in September. So again, keep that in mind as you work on your PLAR history / geography assignments. That also includes your tests as well. So again, in 2 weeks' time, that's the due date, Friday, June the 16th. Again, any work submitted after that due date will not be marked until September. Okay? Again, my potential grads out there that I'm reaching out. Again, I made some phone calls this morning. I talked to some of you. Some of you had invalid phone numbers or working, so I couldn't get a hold of you then. But I did leave a message or did email you. So again, all my potential grads out there in Cat Lake, Bearskin Lake, and Big Trout Lake. Again, let me know what your intents are in terms of graduating by the end of the month. Again, graduation for this year is June the 28th. That's a Wednesday, hosted at Pelican High School here in Silicon. So again, if you intend to graduate, let us know. A lot of you just need one left. So again, just do your best to get motivated and try to get that done as well. Okay? But again, for PLAR students, again, not just my course, but for all PLAR, again, the due date is Friday, June the 16th. It is a lovely day outside. The sun is out. Spring is almost here or kind of here. Hopefully it stays this way. But again, it's definitely warming up and it's fantastic outside. I wish we can do a class outside, but unfortunately we can't with all this technology. But again, if you want to listen, participate, you know what to do. Call in the WASA studio right now. Again, don't even think about it. Don't even hesitate. Call in, listen, participate along with us, learn along with us, and ask questions if you need any help as well. Again, you can also log on to Bridget, Smart Bridget. Again, most of your learning centers should be open. If not, you can also log on at home as well. So again, many ways to engage as well. But again, I do understand that we do have family, we're all working, we all have busy lives. Therefore, yeah, if you missed anything, go back, check it out on my YouTube channel, or download it on the WASA archive page as well. And again, any questions in regards to this course, PLAR History Geography, you can get in touch with me, your teacher Jonathan, by the following: phone call, email, fax, social media, Facebook, in person, all the ways as well. Okay, so again, any questions in regards to your work, you want to know your mark or what you need left, give me a shout. I'll look it up. I'll let you know how you're doing. Alrighty? Awesome. Again, if you need a USB stick for whatever reason, I can pop on the textbook and the workbook and any other class material content if that helps with your study as well. Again, that's only upon request. I don't just make them for whatever reason, but if you want a USB stick to help with your studies, let me know. I can certainly do that for you and ship it on Express and send that to you as well. Okay, so again, just keep that in mind. Great way to continue learning if your internet access is not the greatest, So again, we'll do our best to accommodate and modify as much as we can. Questions, questions. All right, so today we have another jam-packed lesson in class for today as well. As you can see on the screen, we're still continuing looking at lesson number 5, physical geography. Okay, physical geography. So again, we got a couple more classes left before we wrap up this term. So again, we're almost done. So again, hang on with us. Continue to be motivated and try to get as much done as possible. So over the next 60 minutes of this jam-packed edition of our class, which will be fun and exciting, here are our learning goals, which is the same as before. We are learning about physical geography, okay? More aspects within physical geography. Again, our success criteria. So hopefully by the end of the 60 minutes, you know you are successful when you can define functional region. Okay, we'll define what that is. You can also be successful by telling the difference between weather and climate. Again, a bit more terminology, a bit more definition over here. And then explain the characteristics of coniferous and deciduous trees. Okay, we're looking at trees for today. And finally, you can be successful if you can explain the characteristics of some of Canada's ecozones. Okay, not all. I'm not expecting you to know all, but just some of the characteristics within Canada's ecozones. So again, as you can see on the screen, we kind of have a jam-packed edition for today's class. We'll see how far we get. And at the end of today's class, we'll be looking at assignment number 13, I believe. Yep, number 13. So again, your next assignment as we continue along nicely throughout this course. Okay, so again, if you want to flip quickly to your workbook, assignment number 13, these are the kind of questions that you need to answer. So again, functional region, again, we'll define what that is very shortly. Then we'll explain the term weather and climate and why they mean something completely different. Again, we'll be looking at characteristics within coniferous trees and deciduous trees. So again, we're all looking at trees today. Last class, we looked at rocks. I don't have a tree video, but again, I do have a fun activity, which we'll do very shortly. And then we'll define ecozone. Okay, what that is, an ecozone. And then finally, I have a little chart where this is your chance to explore, do a bit of research, inquiry skills, using your textbook or other means, using the web, Google, other textbooks you have to explore Canada's ecozones. Okay, we'll be looking at its landform that consists within that ecozone, the climate, whether it's hot, cold, or in between. You decide. That's when you do a bit of research. Animals, okay, what kind of animals live in that ecozones? Again, a beaver, a deer, a moose, a seagull. What kind of animal live within that ecozone? And we'll explore any human interference, how we impact that zone, whether it's positive or negative. Again, we'll do a bit more research on that. So that's essentially assignment number 13. All right, students. So again, we'll come back and look at these questions at the end of today's class. But again, as we go through today's class content, keep these questions and terminology in mind. Make notes so that helps with your study. Questions so far? Are we all good? So again, that's our learning goals. That's our success criteria for today's class. So today we do have a minds on the hook activity for today. What is that? It's a little mind map activity. So again, on a scrap piece of paper, this is kind of like an individual activity. The goal here is to trace your family tree. Since we'll be talking about trees later on, I decided that we do a little bit of a mind map activity, or concept map, whatever you want to call it. Okay, it's where you're tracing your family tree or your family history or family line. Okay, there's no right or wrong way to do it. There are examples on the screen. But at the end, I think it's fun that we take a moment, step back, and reflect on family a little bit. Okay, our family, since we talk about trees. So again, at the bottom, you can start by writing your name, or in the middle. Again, each mind map or family tree will be different unless you're related. It could be very similar. So if you are related, feel free to work together, collaborate, share your thoughts, your thinking. But if you're different, then it's kind of like an individual. Okay, so again, you can start off by using your name, and then you can off branch out by writing mom. What's your mom's name? Or your dad's name on this side. It doesn't matter. Again, some of us have massive families, some of us have small family. So again, it just depends. Again, then you could branch up looking at brothers and sisters. Again, if you have any siblings, that's fantastic. Jot their name down. Again, you can do both sides of your family, your mom's side or your dad's side. So again, then you got your grandparents if you want to add in your grandparents too somewhere. Okay, so again, just branch off like a little tree. Again, like I said, there's no right or wrong way, but again, take a few moments right now, class students, and construct a family tree of your family. Then if you want, feel free to share with the class. Maybe we'll see some similarities, perhaps even differences. Okay, so again, we can also include grandparents, stepbrother, stepsister, godparents. You can add in your pets too. Do you have any pets? Sure, you can add in pets as well. Again, you can also make a little branch that stretch out to your pets. Again, fun little mind map, concept map activity. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to construct it. You can simply just write your name in the middle and then just branch out. Like I said, we can just do our family, mom, dad, brother, sister. Or we can do it more complicated, where we do our mom's side and our dad's side. We have your aunts and uncles, niece and nephews, and so forth. Okay. So again, if you want, you can put that to a side, and then you want on your own time, you can feel free to finish that up. But again, just a neat way to see how many family members you have, or what your family tree looks like in that matter. So, has anyone watched The Simpsons growing up? I know this show has been on for numerous years, but you can see here, just an example of another family tree of The Simpsons. Again, didn't really watch this growing up, but a lot of my friends did. So again, you can start by looking at Homer Simpson here, Marge and Lisa, Brett, Maggie. Again, a little family tree. Depends on how you want to look at it. Brothers, sisters, grandparents. Again, really popular show growing up. Again, I didn't really watch it, but again, a lot of my family did. But hopefully you can see that little connections between brothers, sisters, mom, dad, grandparents, even great grandparents as well. Okay. So again, that's the Simpsons family tree, if you want to look at it that way. Okay. So again, hopefully that was a little fun activity. Hopefully you enjoyed that little minds map or mind concept map activity where you trace your family tree. Again, if you want to just put that to a side, like I said, if you want, you can finish that up later on. And then if you want, to share it later on, we can certainly do that as well in class. All right, so let's define now functional region. We'll get back to trees in later on throughout the class, where we'll look at different characteristics of trees, but we're looking at functional region. Okay, functional region starts on page 47 in your textbook. Okay, a functional region is a region defined by use, often developed around a center or focal point. A park can be considered a region. Canada's oldest national park is Banff National Park, located in Alberta. Okay, so again, define, often used around a center or focal point. Okay, so that's a functional region. A functional region. Okay, anything that's around a center or focal point, or pretty much anything that's booming. Okay, any place that's popping. So again, here in Slukal or airport could be a functional region. Where a lot of people come here and go. Okay, a lot of functional region again consists of major cities. Again, it could be Thunder Bay, for example. Again, any place that has a newspaper. Again, here in Silicate, we have the Silicate Bulletin. Again, Silicate itself can be a functional region, not just the airport, but we do provide service within our northern communities. Again, Thunder Bay, again, Fort William Gardens, Hockey Arena, or Toronto, okay? Downtown Toronto could be a call to consider a functional region. Any place that has, trains or public transportations or newspapers for that matter can be considered a functional region. Again, a park, not just a playground park, but a national park like Banff National Park, again, where tourists come from all over the world and witness the landscape. More local examples could be Kekabeka Falls, just outside of Thunder Bay. Again, the Niagara Falls up the north, if you want to call it. Again, it attracts people to come there to witness this as well. So anything that's functional or has a point where people come and gather in your community, it could be your rec center or your spot where everyone gather. Okay, but again, or a school. Okay, a school could be a functional region for that matter. Okay, so again, any place that's just has cell phone service or access to service in general can be considered a functional region. So you drive in the middle of Timbuktu and you don't have service on your phone, that's not a functional region because you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no purpose of that region or that area. Okay, again, something like that just to keep in mind. Okay, so again, I often use the example of national parks, but you can definitely just expand on that definition as well. Again, national parks, again, very popular, very big in Canada. As you can see on my screen, anything that's green is Canada's national parks. As you see, some are bigger than others. Any red dots are national historical parks or national historical sites. As you know, this is Canada's 150th year, and with that being said, if you have your Discovery Pass, which you can get online for free, you can enter any national parks or national historical parks or sites absolutely for free this year. So again, Canada's birthday is just around the corner at the end of the month. Again, should be fun, should be exciting. Not sure if your community have anything exciting planned. A lot of major cities are going to have fireworks and other things going on. Don't know if Silico's going to have that, but again, a chance to gather, a chance to celebrate, and a chance to have fun as well. So that's functional region. Again, just note that definition right there. Okay, moving along to our next topic, weather. Okay, I'm not a weatherman or a weather person or meteorologist. I'm a teacher, an educator. But again, we're going to pretend that we're all weather right now. So class, put your pencils down, pens down, and go look out a window. Okay, if you don't have a window, go run, open the door, pop your head out, and tell me, and come back quickly, and tell me what's the weather like in your community. Okay. So as I look out the studio here, as I'm teaching, it's like I said, it's definitely feels like spring. My window's open. I should close it because I usually do close it, but it's open at the moment. It's definitely sunny outside with a slight little breeze. Definitely warmer than it was yesterday. Okay, so that's looking at weather. So we want to open up the weather network, if it even works right here. Yes, it does. We can even look at the current weather here in Sulico. Okay, Sulico. So according to the Weather Network online, it says that here in Sulico it's currently 21 degrees, feeling like 21. Okay. So again, perfect spring-like condition, not too hot, not too cold, just perfect. Again, tomorrow should be even warmer, where we're in the mid-20s. So again, you may want to pop out your t-shirts, your flip-flops, your shades, even some sunscreen. But again, it should be shaping up to a fantastic weekend coming up. You may have some wet activities this coming Saturday, but again, as we know, weather can change. But as we approach into early next week, according to the weather network here in Stuttgart, it should be some fantastic, awesome weather conditions. Again, in the low and mid 20s with lots of sunshine. So that's weather. As we know, with weather, it can change daily. We need to take into account participations, whether it's raining or not, the wind condition, and all that into account. So within your community, are you experiencing these same conditions? Is it supposed to rain later on? Who knows? Is there a community that we want to look up? I think we looked up Waterman last time. Let's look up. Let's look up Fort Severn. Okay. We know that Bonnie, Candace, and Suzette are currently in Fort Severn. So what are they experiencing like right now? Not the awesomest weather, that's for sure. Currently, it is sunny, +8, feeling like 4. So again, due to its location, weather is different, as you can see. So again, what's the weather like in your community? Okay, again, feel free to share with the class, and hopefully we can have some discussion about weather. But going back to our class notes, looking at weather, what is weather? Let's define according to what is weather. Weather is a day-to-day condition of the atmospheric conditions. It's the condition in the air in a particular place on a particular date. Okay, so again, it could be different on a particular place, location, and even on a date. In other words, what is simply like outside. That's why I asked you, class and students, to look out your window or door to tell me what it's like outside. So there's many factors that we need to take into account and consideration. There's temperature. Is it sunny, windy, snowy, rainy, cloudy, and you name it. In other words, weather is the short-term condition. Again, it may not last long. It may change from hour to hour or even day to day. So that's weather. Okay, that's weather. Whereas climate, on the other hand, okay, class, climate is defined as the average of all weather conditions over the entire year or certain year. Even take into account over decades or even centuries, Climate is the average weather of a particular area. It does not describe any particular date or event. In other words, it's the long-term condition. Okay. As we know, for example, in Fort 7, the climate is always, not warm, but fairly chilly and cold, especially in the winter time. So again, that's something that we can take into account. The North Pole is always cold. The Sahara Desert is always warm because it's a desert. If you live near the equator, it's always warm. Again, that's just the type of climates we are living in. Again, Florida, California, again, always warm. That's the climate they have. But here in northwestern Ontario, we're more defined as our harsh winter, cold climate as well. So when looking at climates, again, climates still on page 47 in your textbook. Climate does affect vegetation and soil region. Therefore, we need to take that into account as well. Hence why we'll be looking at trees. Okay. Trees don't grow when it's cold or if it doesn't have good soil. So again, it's something that we must take into account as well. Okay. Any questions about weather and climate before we move on? Before we transition to the next topic? Again, weather, day-to-day conditions, short-term, climate, takes into account the average, and it's long-term. So as you can see here in class on the screen, we'll be looking at two types of trees, coniferous, 1, and 2, deciduous trees. Okay, again, I'm not a tree expert. It's just included in your textbook as it talks about climate and weather and soil and vegetation, hence why we're talking about trees. So again, that's why we did that minds on mind map at the start of the class where we trace our family tree. So again, start from the bottom, the roots, and then we branch out. Again, that's why we looked at the family tree of the Simpsons as well. So let's look at coniferous and deciduous trees and what makes them unique and different and stand out. This is definitely in your textbook on at the bottom of page 47, and it goes on to the next page on page 48. So right here, coniferous, deciduous. So again, take all these forms and summarize it, put it into your own words. That's definitely what I did with my notes. And it's there for you to use as well. Again, make sure you take the time right now to call in the Wassel Studio, engage with us, and if you haven't already done so, log on to Smart Bridget as well. So, coniferous trees or coniferous forests. Any trees that has a cone. Okay, a pine cone or just any cone for that matter. It also has leaves, but not just any kind of leaves. It has needle-like leaves. Okay, so again, evergreen trees. Okay, so a pine cone. Or it has spikes or needles like these right here. Okay, pointy spikes. These are called evergreen trees or coniferous trees or forests. They thrive in cold climate because they stay green all year long. Obviously, they do need good soil to grow. But again, examples of coniferous trees and forests are cedar, pine, and spruce. Does these names ring a bell? If they do, they are example of a coniferous tree. So again, any tree that has cones or needle-like leaves are coniferous trees. Easy to remember, right, class? I think so. What about deciduous trees? Well, deciduous trees simply are the other kind of trees. What kind of trees? Well, they're trees that simply shed their leaves in the fall time. So when it's fall or autumn, you see leaves changing color, whether it's red, brown, orange, yellow, or whatever other color you want to add in there. These are deciduous trees because they change color and they lose their leaves in the fall. They do grow in all four seasons. They especially need good soil, fertile soil to grow. If not, they can't have that. Again, somewhat discouraged by these trees because you gotta rake them. Again, we gotta pull out the rake and just rake our leaves. Do make a mess sometimes here and there. They do cover our cars and the roads, but again, definitely pretty to look at when they change color. You can definitely take pictures of it and post it on social media, your Instagram account, Facebook account, get all those likes and comments. But again, these are just examples of deciduous trees and forests. They don't last that long in short winters. They do grow in all four seasons, like I said. Some might argue that deciduous trees, only few remain left, as clear-cutting and urban development are taken over. So as land expand, we need to sacrifice our trees and our farmland to make space. So example of deciduous trees are maple tree, an oak tree, and a birch tree. Okay. So as I look out my window, I see some coniferous trees, some evergreen, and I do see some other trees that are not necessarily deciduous, but just weeds. And yeah, I may see some deciduous trees right here too. So again, a little bit of mixture as well. So again, next time you're out in your community, walking around, and you see a tree, stop, point to it, look at it, and hopefully you can classify whether or not it's deciduous or a coniferous tree. Okay. So again, if it has the needles or spikes on it or needle-like leaves, it's coniferous. If it's leaves that fall to the ground, it's deciduous trees. Okay. Yes, we do need to sacrifice deciduous trees to make paper, toilet paper, cardboard, and other means. But again, that's just the way things are, unfortunately. We do have a lot of trees here in this region of Northwest Ontario. Again, like I said, some of these trees are sacrificed for everyday needs like paper and toilet paper, tissues, and others. But again, stuff we need to think about and consider. Okay, any question about trees? Again, hopefully it's easy to remember. Again, all this in your textbook, page 47, 48. Again, all we need to know here are just the characteristics of these trees. Okay. Again, just take all these points, summarize them, put them into your own words. I don't need to copy out the whole thing. Again, just keep that in mind as you work on your assignments. One last note before we move on from trees. Again, some indigenous contents. First Nation lifelong learning model represents a tree. So again, if you talk to your elder in your community, they can definitely explain more about this than I do. But again, this is something I learned during my studies. But again, the First Nation model for lifelong learning. Even though we're mature students and trying to get our credits and our diploma, our learning does not stop once we achieve our goals. Okay, we're all lifelong learners. Even myself, I'm still learning. I'm still developing, still taking courses, even though I did a lot of schooling already and a lot of education in the past. But again, we're all lifelong learners, something that we all need to strive to be. So within this First Nation lifelong learning model, as you see, it represents a tree. At the roots, it represents the source and domain of knowledge. Okay, the knowledge. So it could be your language, the dialect that you speak, whether it's Ojibwe or Ojibwe Creed, English, French, or other. Again, that's just as parts of your source of knowledge. You got your traditions, ceremonies, you got your ancestor, family, yourself, your community, okay, your clan, your nation, all that is part of your roots, your source of knowledge and your domain. And from your roots, that's where you branch off, okay? You branch off with trees and leaves and look at spiritual culture, social, economic, and political factors as well. Looking at collective well-being, these are our branches and our leaves. But as we know, trees are a living thing and they do need to grow. They do need food and water and sunlight to grow. And from growth, we get learning from our elders. Okay, our elders, our leaders, our teachers, and our parents. Okay, that's how we learn and grow as well. So again, we learn lots from others, you and I, my class especially. I do take into account inclusiveness, diversity, again, respect all learners, all ethnic origin and gender, different learning styles, different learning needs, and your interests. Again, that's why this is a collaborative, collective, inclusive learning environment. Okay, something that I take proudly and something that I will always take into account when I'm teaching. So again, more indigenous content plugin. We're looking at trees. Again, hopefully you can see that connection within your community. Perhaps you've seen it before. Perhaps you have never seen it before, but that's okay too. But again, hopefully you can see some connection with that. And again, I know Métis and Inuit have a similar learning model. It does represent a tree as well, but again, it might be slightly different in terms of how they interpret their lifelong learning model. Okay. Again, any last question, comments, concerns of trees before we transition along? Yes, no, no? All right, let's move on. Excellent. So, ecozones. Our last topic for today. Again, any questions, just let me know. Okay. Shout it out, write it out. Ask me. If you're too shy to ask in class, that's fine too. Just call me or email me later on. Ecozones. Again, I'm going to touch on it briefly, but this topic I want the class to explore on their own. So ecozone simply has natural features and human activities together. Okay, together. Okay, natural features comes from nature and human activities in a particular area. So it could have one main characteristics in common. Again, that could be vegetation and population or climate, but others may have more than one defining factors. But it does take into account, like I said, natural features and human activities. So here in Canada, a beautiful country of ours, the best country out there, right? Do we all agree with that? I think so. We have 15 land-based ecozones and 5 marine-based ecozones. Okay, so 5 plus 15. Do the math, that's 20. That's a whole lot of ecozones to explore within our class. Hence why we're not going to look at every ecozones. We're going to look at some, and you can explore the rest on your own as you work on your assignments. But as you refer back to your textbook, again, here's ecozones. Okay, it starts right here. Again, like I said, it talks about human activities and natural features. Okay, that's simply what an ecozone consists of. What's living, what's around us, what makes it stand out. Lots of natural scenery, lots of wonders, lots of wisdom, tourists, education, and human activities as well. We're looking at ecozones. Again, here's the map of Canada. Hope you can see it. And there are more illustrations in your textbook, but from this map of Canada, it talks about Canada ecozones. As you can see, ecozones are all over our country. Some are bigger than others. Some extend from more than one provinces and even territories. So again, we have lots, as you can see. Arctic, Northern Arctic, Southern Arctic, Hudson Plains, the Prairies, the Boreal Plains. We have the Boreal Shield, the mixed woodlands, Atlantic Maritimes, the Boreal Cordillera. Again, lots of these ecozones. Again, some are bigger than others, like I said, and some are smaller than others, like I said. So within ecozones, a lot of our communities are within the Hudson Plains, especially a lot of the northern communities, such as Fort Severn. But here in Sioux Lookout, we're part of the Boreal Shield ecozones. It's definitely different as you approach out west and out east as well. Again, land base and marine base. So we do have water base, sea base ecozones as well. As you know, Canada is a big country. We go from coast to coast, where we touch the Arctic Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean as well. So we do have 5 different marine-based ecozones. Take into account Hudson Bay as well. So again, hopefully your textbook is in color. It does have a legend that represents different colors and different ecozones as well. So like I said, we're not going to go through each and every ecozone, because that doesn't achieve a purpose. So when going back to your workbook, assignment number 13, the last question, the chart, feel free to use jot notes in point form here, but essentially you're just picking any 4 ecozones that you want and exploring these activities. So for example, let's look at the Boreal Shield, which is this giant green area. Again, it goes from Alberta to Newfoundland, largest ecozones in Canada. Short, warm summer, cold winters, lots of trees, spruce, pine, birch. So animals, we have deer, black bear, raccoon, owl, moose. Lots of freshwater lakes, trees, great for transportation, fishing, and lots of outdoor activities, just to name a few. The Hudson Plains, again, that's more of an Arctic region. Northern Ontario, even parts of northern Quebec and northern Manitoba, like Churchill. Vegetation is limited. Again, not great for growing. Not many trees, as trees don't grow when there's no vegetation. It is really cold, like bitter cold. Definitely need your parka, your hat, your toques, and your gloves, and your boots. There are lots of blueberries, white spruce, geese, moose, bear, and parts of wetland activities as well. So again, hopefully you can see that little contrast when looking at these ecozones when they come into play. Marine base, just an example, again, the Pacific Marine out west in BC. Very rich in diverse ocean community. Lots of aquatic mammals. Great for fishing and tourism. But it is in danger for overfishing, pollution, and habitat destruction as well. Okay? So again, just some example of Canada's ecozones. I'm not going to go through all of them. Your textbook does go through all of them. So again, make sure you skim through some of these ecozones, marine-based and land-based, as there are lots. Okay, so going back to your assignment number 13. Again, we're defining a functional region, 2 marks. Again, working on using a textbook, put into your own words, what is that definition? Question number 2 deals with, again, weather and climate. Again, your job here is to define weather, define climate, and why they mean something different. Okay? Think about short-term and long-term effects. Again, remember, always write it in full, complete sentences with details in your own words, okay? Into your own words. Characteristics of trees, again, coniferous trees, and characteristic of deciduous trees. Pretty simple here. And what is an ecozone? Again, you're defining it, more definitions here. And lastly, like I said, that chart where your job is to jot down ecozones, its name, its location, different landforms, climate, animal, wildlife, and human interference. Some of these ecozones may not have any interference, therefore it can simply just write not applicable or NA or leave it blank. Okay? But again, do your best to fill out this chart, the name, location, landform, the weather. Again, hot, cold. Is it flat? Does it have tree? Does it have mountain? Does it have lakes? List some animals. Again, a squirrel, a chipmunk, a muskrat, bear, moose, whatever animal it may have. And human interference. It could be pollution or activities that we do to disturb that ecozone. Okay? So again, not a huge assignment, but again, it will definitely take some time as well. It should take you about a good solid 20 minutes, I would say, to work on this assignment. Again, it may vary depending on our learning needs and style, but again, keeping that in mind, a good 20 minutes should be working on this assignment, or even longer for that sake. Okay? So not a huge assignment, but again, the last chart will definitely take some time and a bit of research as well. Again, all the answers are in your textbook. All the answers are covered in class to an extent. Again, your job is to use it, analyze this information, and submit those work. Okay? Questions, comments? Again, keep working on your assignments. Okay, cannot stress it enough. Again, this is week 7, which means that next week is week number 8. Then the following week is the last week, week number 9. The due date is Friday, June the 16th to hand in any work. If you don't hand in any work after the due dates, it's not going to be marked until September. Again, keep it in mind, class, that again, like I mentioned last class, this is my last year here at WASA. So again, if you want to finish up before I leave my duties here, again, a fantastic opportunity as well. Again, maybe a little bit of extra motivation on that side as well. But again, keeping that in mind. Whoever's going to come in the fall and take over this course, again, they may alter the content and the questions, but again, for the most part, it should be the same. But again, that's up to that teacher, whoever's taking over for this course for PLAR History and Geography. Okay, so again, just keep that in mind as well as you try to finish up. Okay, questions again. Yeah, you know where to contact me, email me, call me. I'm always in my office if you need any help. But again, keep working on these assignments. So next week is week number 8. As you can tell, we'll continue looking at geography lesson number 5. We'll explore more current themes such as climate change and global warming. We'll look more about pollution and what that has to offer. We'll definitely look at latitude and longitude in there as well. Okay. I believe, okay, don't quote me on this, that a week from today, all classes on Thursdays will be canceled. Okay. Again, don't mark my word. No final note yet, but teachers do have a professional development next Tuesdays. So next Thursday, sorry, easy for me to say. Next Thursday and Friday, teachers should be out of the office all day, Thursday and Friday of next week. Again, was waiting on the final word from Darren in terms of if that professional development is still happening. I think it is because we haven't heard anything yet. But again, just to throw that out there. So again, class will not be necessarily canceled. It will just replay what we already have learned before. Okay. Again, hopefully I have more details in regards to that on Tuesday. But don't worry too much about that. What you need to work on, students, is to get these assignments done. Okay. Work on them. Shouldn't take you too long. Again, these assignment questions are just preparation for your final tests. Okay. So again, don't need to stress out or study too hard, especially from my course. Very straightforward, very simple. Uh, Definitely recommend doing history geography first, just the way it is. But again, doesn't mean that other subjects are not important as well. Okay. Okay, so I think I'll stop it here for today. Definitely try to get outside, enjoy the weather. If you're in town in Silico, it's definitely beautiful out there. Again, we'll stop it here for right now. We'll pick things up again, you know when? On Tuesday, same spot, same time, and we'll go from there. So thank you so much for listening and tuning in. It has been fun. It has been a blast. See y'all next week. Thank you.